Hey everybody. Well, this is the first update video on the project of the 2001 Oldsmobile Silhouette van that I'm trying to get to run again. Well, I just removed the battery because it was dead and needed to be recharged, and that wasn't necessarily easy in and of itself. And I decided to check the spark plugs. At least I thought I was. The front spark plugs had already been replaced by the owner, and they was just laying up there. Two of them anyway. They didn't look that bad. So I decided to check the back spark plugs closest to the firewall. Yeah, that didn't work out either. So after looking and scratching my head and trying to figure out how in the world you get to the rear three spark plugs closest to firewall, I decided to do a little digging on Google and called a shop, and you are going to love what I found out. So we will see if we can pull it up here. How to change the spark plugs in a Silhouette van V6. Okay, I want to scroll all the way down here. Here's the short and sweet of it. First, you'll have to rotate the engine forward to get at the rear plugs. To do this, remove the air cleaner, intake, air plumbing, and front engine stabilizers. That's this and that. Okay, disconnect the exhaust flange from the engine to the exhaust pipe from underneath the car. Remember to use good set of jack stands. Blah blah blah. On stable ground when you're working under a ton or two of sharp metal. Well, that's kind of goes without saying. Remove the upper radiator hose, then put a come along or ratchet tie down strap on the engine lift point and to one of the bolts left after removing the stabilizers. So you're basically going from somewhere around here to the tie-on point on the engine, which is up here, and my phone just went black. Okay, left point to one of the bolts left after removing the stabilizers, then winch the engine forward, exposing more of the rear of the engine. As I remember, you'll have to remove the EGR valve, possibly the upper intake manifold, the ignition coil pack, and canister vent valve, which mounts on the back of the coils. Getting at these rear bolts is a bear. I wouldn't replace them. Just put the vent valve on the studs, the ignition coil on top of that, and let, okay, blah 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 blah. The next step, it is important so you don't have to go through the rest of your life known as lefty before you put your arms behind the engine. Double up tie down strap. If one falls off, it'll break and pin your arms behind the engine. Again, that's duh. Okay, so in other words, the engine has to be rotated with the intake manifold facing where I'm standing in front of the van. So you've got to take out your plumbing for your air. You've got to take out these front supports. You've got to go underneath. You've got to disconnect the exhaust from the engine. You've got to take and connect something goes from one of these bolts to the tie-on point there. Pull the engine forward, and then you got to start pulling all kinds of crap off the back, the ignition coil packs, and so on. There's a whole lot involved in just replacing three stupid spark plugs. So, here's my thoughts on the van. I'm going to put the battery on the charger, get some juice a-flowing, wedge the battery back in there because it was difficult to shoehorn that SOB out. I'm going to triple check these plugs. I may even do a front end compression test, meaning check these three cylinders to see what they're doing. At least I'll get some idea of how they're looking. And then we'll try to fire it up and see if this thing is going to cooperate. If we do have to pull those plugs in the back, man, I don't know. I don't really have time right now to go through all of that to replace those plugs, so I may actually end up taking it in to a local shop just to get that done and charge it to the owner. But I think I'm going to get a pretty good idea of where we stand just by checking the compression on these 3 cylinders. And the spark plugs, which I did have, they didn't look that bad. I mean, to be honest, they didn't look bad. So I'm not thinking we have a spark plug issue. Anyway, figure I'll make this little quickie wiki video illustrating what you have to do in order to pull the stupid back spark plugs. Wonderful design, people. Oldsmobile, bravo. Bravo, Oldsmobile, or GM rather. Bravo on the engine design. Bravo on shoehorning it in there so tightly that just to replace a couple of $1.89 spark plugs, you've got to frickin' wrench the entire engine over just to get to it. Good idea. Kudos to you. Okay, there's my rant for the day. So, gotta go to the parts store, get some recharge studs, because it takes a side post battery, and my recharge studs have vanished, and I can't seem to find any bolts that will thread in. So, alright. Good joy, oh joy. Alright, well, thanks for watching, and I hope at least part of this video is useful to some wrencher out there that's trying to figure out how to do the same thing I just got done figuring out. Alright, peace out.